The best Arrowverse show is finally back. Superman and Lois has returned, and man, it's just so good to have this back in my life. So good. Superman and Lois back. It returned for episode 6 last night, and it was another great episode. So much happened. We got a lot to talk about here. So, of course, quick spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the episode yet, and if you have, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. But without further ado, let's jump into this and break down Superman and Lois Season 1, Episode 6. So, the episode starts off literally right where the last episode ended off, with the cliffhanger of Tag confronting and attacking Jordan. And when it starts here in this scene, Superman does show up and he does automatically save him, and Tag escapes. So now Tag is out there on the run, and this whole episode they're trying to figure out like where did he go, and they need to apprehend him because he knows that Jordan has some sort of powers, and he is the one that caused Tag to get his powers. So he's definitely mad. And throughout this episode, this was another really Jordan-centric episode because Jordan starts getting really sensitive to sound. So you can tell that he's starting to develop more of his other powers, like his super hearing. So he's starting to get super sensitive to like the smallest sounds, like when Jonathan shut his locker, it sounded like he slammed his locker, but he really didn't. So he's starting to get really sensitive to that. So then after school, he actually starts training with Clark, and they work on punching, and it was a really great moment when you hit the log and like it made a big dent. So that was really cool there. But he's got a big football game coming up, so he doesn't want to tell his father about about his sensitive hearing problems and how his powers have been malfunctioning, because then he won't let him play the game. So he just goes straight into this because this is the big game. This is the Smallville Crows versus the Metropolis Spartans. I believe they were the Spartans. It might have been Stallions, but I'm pretty sure it was Spartans. So it's this big football game, and Jonathan finally gets to play quarterback because their actual quarterback, he gets injured. So Jonathan is like, I know our plays, I know their plays, I can do this. So then coach sends him in, and he does a great job until things go downhill here, because then this giant fight breaks out at midfield after a touchdown, and Jordan just loses control. He goes full laser eyes, so Clark rushes out there, and he takes the blast of of Jordan's laser eyes. Like, he just feels the laser on his hand, and wow, I mean, he's Superman, but you could tell he was still feeling it. But that's the kind of sacrifice you got to make to keep this secret safe. And so then after this, after the game, these Spartans actually confront the Crows, who are just kind of hanging out and just playing around the alleyway. The Spartans confront them, and well, Jordan gets pissed, so he goes to punch, I think his name was Cutter, because he was making fun of him, calling him JoJo and all this stuff. So he gets ready to punch him, and Jonathan blocks it, but obviously Jordan has superpowers. Jonathan does not, at least as far as we're aware. So then he full-on breaks Jonathan's hand, and wow. Great block, Jonathan, but now you got a broken hand. I mean, he just started his career as the quarterback, and now it's over. So, things are not going well there. But hopefully he does find out soon that maybe he does have powers, and then he'll get some super healing or something. Hopefully, I think it'd be really awesome if we had 2 Superboys. So hopefully that does end up happening here, sometime soon. But meanwhile, while all of that went on, we still had Tag out there, and Superman had to go take him down because Tag actually showed up at Sarah's house and kidnapped her and took her to Metropolis. So then Lana and I forgot her husband's name, but basically Lana, they call Clark looking for Sarah, wondering if she went to the game, and then he finds out that basically Tag took her. So then he goes and he finds Tag, and he goes to try and like calm him down, but then the DOD shows up, and they just start shooting kryptonite, which is not good. And this follows up after the cliffhanger with General Lane last episode with him kind of turning against Superman. So they're all shooting kryptonite, and Tag is back in custody, but now Superman knows that there is some sort of tension between him and his father-in-law, and something is not going right there. So I'm really excited to see that there. But speaking of General Lane, the whole reason that he started turning against Superman is because of the warning from Captain Luthor. Or should I say Marcus? I actually don't know if his name is actually Marcus Luthor, but that's the name he goes by in this episode. Because Marcus and Lois, they team up to investigate the mines. So he gets this super good forgery of a mine pass, and they're able to get down there and do some mining and investigate what is going on here and what is Morgan Edge doing with these mines. And they actually find this thing called X-Kryptonite, which is kind of crazy because there's, for those of you that don't know, there are multiple kinds of kryptonite. It's not just the regular green kryptonite that makes Superman weak. There's other colors of kryptonite that do different things. And I'm not sure what X-Kryptonite does, but it definitely is not something good, because Marcus said that it was the most powerful of all the kryptonites. And I think actually last episode, Morgan Edge said that with all of this kryptonite, they could resurrect an army or something like that. So maybe it's some sort of kryptonite that can bring people back to life or give people Kryptonian powers. Who knows? But I feel like it's something along those lines. And X-Kryptonite is definitely not a good thing. And then all of a sudden, Leslie Lar shows up and she attacks them. They find out that she has powers, so she got the whole laser eyes thing going on here as well. And so then, after this, then they're able to escape. And Lois just is upset with Marcus because she's like, "You're not really who you say that you are." And as we see in the promo for next week, he actually reveals himself like, "Yeah, I'm the stranger. I'm Captain Luthor." So I'm definitely excited to see more of that. But then towards the end of the episode, Lana actually decides to help Lois expose Morgan Edge, because she's been kind of back and forth here, especially at the beginning of this episode, because she was offered a new job from Morgan Edge, and she was like, "Yeah, Morgan Edge." But now, after seeing how Tag kidnapped her daughter and how Morgan Edge is somehow tied to all of it, she wants to get to the bottom of this and figure out what is going on. So she does finally decide that she is going to actually help out and help Lois take down Morgan Edge, which I think is just awesome. And I'm really excited to see more of that team up, because it seems like it's going to be a pretty cool dynamic duo here. But then the episode ends with this big cliffhanger of Jordan. He's just having this nice moment with his mother out there on the porch. But then all of a sudden he starts having a seizure, and he like falls to the ground and starts like shaking around and stuff. So Clark picks him up and starts flying away, and he says that he is taking him to the fortress. Of course, the Fortress of Solitude. And we see that again in the promo. And that is where the episode ends. So yeah, a pretty crazy episode here, guys. I really enjoyed it. Again, I'm so happy to have Superman and Lois back. I love this show. Hopefully we don't have to do too many of those things where it's like, oh, we got to take a week break with no new episode. I really hate that when they do that. But for now, we got new episodes of Superman and Lois every Tuesday after The Flash at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm super excited for this. Stay tuned for more episode reviews and breakdowns for this and all the other Arrowverse shows. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.